The deepest animosities rarely announce themselves with a whisper, with subtle acts of psychological undermining designed to chip away at your sense of value, often so skillfully veiled that you begin to question your own intuition. These first two signs are masters of this quiet, corrosive art, revealing the inner turmoil of the other person through their response to your light. The first sign is the poisoned gift of the backhanded compliment and its close cousin, faint praise. You share good news, a promotion, a creative breakthrough, a personal achievement, and the person responds with words that, on the surface, sound supportive, but leave a strange, bitter aftertaste. "That's amazing you got that job. They must have really needed someone, huh?" Or, "Your new home is lovely. It's so brave of you to take on a project that size." These are not compliments, they are daggers wrapped in silk. From a Jungian perspective, this often stems from a potent envy rooted in the other person's shadow. Your success illuminates a part of their own potential that they have neglected or feel incapable of achieving. Their conscious mind knows it should celebrate with you, but their resentful shadow cannot bear it. And so, it injects poison into the praise, a subtle effort to diminish your accomplishment and soothe its own feeling of inadequacy. Faint praise, a lukewarm, "Oh, that's nice," in response to something that means the world to you, serves the same purpose. It withholds the genuine energetic affirmation you deserve, quietly starving your joy. The second sign is their consistent forgetting or downplaying of your successes.
You find yourself having to remind them of an important milestone they claim to have forgotten. When others bring up your achievements, they quickly change the subject. Or they might attribute your hard-earned success to external factors. "You were just lucky," or, "Well, it was an easy time to get into that field." This is not a simple lapse in memory. It is a psychologically motivated act of erasure. Jung would see this as the other person's unconscious protecting a fragile ego. Your success is a psychic threat to their own self-narrative, so their mind, guided by the insecure shadow, actively suppresses or reframes the information. It refuses to hold a reality that makes it feel less than. It's a defense mechanism where their unconscious edits the world to make their own internal landscape more bearable. When you encounter these signs, the feeling is one of deep confusion, a subtle gaslighting that can make you doubt the validity of your own achievements. It's crucial to understand that these acts are rarely conscious, calculated cruelty. They are sad, powerful reflections of an inner war being waged within the other person, a clear signal that your light is casting a shadow they are not yet ready or willing to face. While the previous signs reveal a person's inner conflict through their reaction to your light, the next two signs expose their hidden animosity through their intense focus on your perceived darkness, your flaws, and your failures. This is where the glare of their unintegrated shadow becomes unmistakably and often painfully bright. The third sign is their intense and often irrational criticism of a particular flaw they perceive in you. We all have imperfections, yet this person will seize upon one of yours, perhaps a touch of disorganization, a tendency to be late, or a specific way you speak, and criticize it with a venom and emotional charge that is wildly out of proportion to the crime. It doesn't feel like constructive feedback, it feels like a personal, almost obsessive assault. This, from a Jungian standpoint, is the very definition of shadow projection. Carl Jung taught that the qualities we most vehemently deny in ourselves, we most viciously condemn in others. The person is likely projecting a trait that resides within their own unacknowledged shadow. By attacking that flaw out there in you, they are unconsciously attempting to destroy the same disowned part in here, within their own psyche. The disproportionate anger, the obsessive focus, that is the energy of their own repressed self-hatred being cast upon you as a screen. You are simply the hook upon which they hang the heaviest parts of their own unconscious baggage. The fourth and perhaps most revealing sign is their barely concealed delight in your failures. This is the grim phenomenon of schadenfreude, taking pleasure in the misfortune of others. When you stumble, when you face a setback, when a project fails, pay close attention to their immediate unfiltered reaction. Their words may offer sympathy. "Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry." But their eyes might betray a flicker of brightness. Their posture might subtly relax. Their energy might seem to lift. They may even seem more talkative and engaged with you in that moment than when you are succeeding. Jung would see this as a direct consequence of the envious shadow we discussed earlier. A person with a deeply integrated sense of self can genuinely feel sad for your misfortune. But a person whose ego is fragile and whose shadow is filled with feelings of inadequacy experiences your failure as a personal relief.
This is the grim phenomenon of schadenfreude, taking pleasure in the misfortune of others. When you stumble, when you face a setback, when a project fails, pay close attention to their immediate, unfiltered reaction. Their words may offer sympathy. "Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry." But their eyes might betray a flicker of brightness. Their posture might subtly relax. Their energy might seem to lift. They may even seem more talkative and engaged with you in that moment than when you are succeeding. Jung would see this as a direct consequence of the envious shadow we discussed earlier. A person with a deeply integrated sense of self can genuinely feel sad for your misfortune. But a person whose ego is fragile and whose shadow is filled with feelings of inadequacy experiences your failure as a personal relief. Your stumble momentarily lifts their own burden of feeling less than. It's a sad, desperate attempt by their psyche to find equilibrium, not by raising itself up, but by celebrating your descent. Recognizing these signs is not about confirming your victimhood, but about achieving a sobering clarity. It is the painful realization that you have become the unwilling stage for another person's profound inner war, a war they are fighting against themselves, using you as the battlefield. Beyond the verbal jabs and subtle reactions to your life's events, hidden animosity often leaves its most profound mark in the invisible realm of psychological and emotional energy. The next two signs move away from what is said or done and into the deeply personal territory of what is felt. They reveal how a person's unconscious negativity can act as a form of psychic vampirism, draining your vitality and sowing seeds of doubt. The fifth and deeply intuitive sign is that you consistently feel drained, depleted, or somehow smaller after interacting with them. You might have a conversation that is, on the surface, perfectly normal or even pleasant. Yet, when you walk away, you feel a profound sense of exhaustion, as if your inner light has been dimmed. Your energy, your optimism, your very life force feels inexplicably depleted. Carl Jung understood psychic energy, or libido, as a very real and tangible force. When you are in the presence of someone whose shadow harbors deep-seated envy or resentment towards you, you are engaging in an unseen energetic battle. Their psyche, seeking to compensate for its own perceived lack, may unconsciously feed on your vitality. Or your own psyche may be expending tremendous energy just to maintain your sense of self against the constant low-frequency broadcast of their negativity and projections. Feeling smaller in their presence is the direct result of their shadow's unconscious need to diminish you in order to feel larger by comparison. Trust this feeling. It is often the truest signal your intuition can send. The sixth sign is how their help or advice consistently leaves you feeling more doubtful and less confident. They may present themselves as your biggest supporter, always ready with counsel. But pay close attention to the effect of their words. Does their helpful advice systematically highlight the risks, the potential for failure, the reasons you shouldn't try? Is their caring concern always framed in a way that magnifies your insecurities? This is often the shadow's most sophisticated gambit. The unconscious wish for you to fail hijacks the conscious desire to be a good friend or partner. Their advice becomes a socially acceptable delivery system for their doubt and envy. They are not giving you wisdom. They are projecting their own unacknowledged fears of failure onto you, dressing it up as being realistic or just looking out for you.
It is a subtle but potent form of sabotage, designed to keep you from succeeding where they unconsciously feel they cannot. When you consistently leave conversations about your dreams feeling less capable and more afraid, you are not receiving guidance. You are receiving the carefully disguised poison of another's unintegrated shadow. Our journey into deciphering hidden negativity now takes us to the most subtle and often most undeniable signs, those communicated not through carefully chosen words, but through the primal, honest language of the body and through patterns of seemingly unintentional actions. The unconscious, when its direct expression is repressed, will always find other channels to make itself known. The seventh sign is a persistent incongruence between their words and their body language. The conscious ego, their persona, can say all the right things. It can congratulate you, offer praise, or agree with you. But the body rarely lies. Pay close attention to the unspoken signals that accompany their words. Does their smile reach their eyes, or is it a tight, forced gesture? When they compliment you, are their arms crossed defensively, or do they subtly turn their body away from you? Do you catch a fleeting micro-expression, a split-second flash of contempt, disgust, or envy before their social mask slips back into place? Jung understood that the body is a theater for the unconscious. While a person can consciously control their speech, the repressed energy of their shadow often leaks out through these involuntary physical tells. This dissonance between the spoken word and the felt physical truth is a powerful sign that what you are being told is not what is truly felt. The mask is slipping, and for a brief moment, you are seeing the true emotional state behind it. The eighth and final sign is the recurring pattern of accidental sabotage and passive aggression. This is one of the shadow's most insidious and effective strategies because it maintains plausible deniability. A single instance can always be excused. Anyone can make a mistake. But you must look for the pattern. Do they consistently forget to give you crucial messages just before a deadline? Do they accidentally break a treasured possession? Do they unintentionally share an embarrassing story about you in a group framed as a funny anecdote? Perhaps they make biting jokes at your expense, immediately followed by, "I'm just kidding, you're too sensitive." These are not accidents, they are unconsciously motivated actions. Their repressed hostility and envy are finding a socially acceptable, deniable outlet to express themselves. The conscious mind gets to maintain its innocence, it was just a mistake, while the shadow gets to land its blow, achieving its goal of subtly undermining or hurting you. When you notice a persistent pattern where their mistakes consistently cost you time, energy, or peace of mind, you are not being paranoid. You are witnessing the intelligent, strategic leakage of repressed animosity, a clear and dangerous sign that speaks volumes more than their reassuring words ever could. We have journeyed through the shadowy landscape of hidden animosity, identifying 8 powerful, often painful signs that can reveal the unconscious negativity of someone close to you. From the subtle poison of backhanded compliments and the chilling glee of schadenfreude, to the psychic drain of their presence and the sabotage hidden in their mistakes. These signs, understood through a Jungian lens, are not mere slights. They are windows into the soul of another person's inner war. Their unintegrated shadow, their envy, their profound feelings of inadequacy being projected onto you. But recognizing these truths leaves us standing at a critical crossroads, facing a vital question: now what? The initial wounded impulse is often to confront, to accuse, to demand justice for the hurt we feel. But reacting from our own pain, from our own wounds, often means we descend onto their battlefield, engaging in the very unconscious drama they have initiated, giving them more of our precious energy and rarely finding the resolution we seek. Here, after the diagnosis of Jung, we turn to the profound medicine of Stoicism. The Stoic path offers us not a strategy for counterattack, but a blueprint for maintaining our own inner sovereignty and peace in the face of another's turmoil. The first principle is the dichotomy of control.
Their envy, their projections, their secret hatred, these are ultimately within their soul, not yours. They are outside of your control. What remains entirely within your power is how you interpret these signs and how you choose to respond. Your inner peace, your ataraxia, does not have to be surrendered. Recognizing their negativity becomes a call to reinforce your own inner citadel. You understand that their barbs and their undermining can only truly harm your character if you assent to their validity, if you let their poison seep through your walls. The Stoic sage feels the arrow strike the armor, but does not allow it to pierce the soul within. This leads to a form of compassionate detachment. You can understand from a distance that their behavior stems from their own deep suffering and inner poverty, without making yourself a sacrificial offering to their dysfunction. And finally, Stoicism guides our actions through virtue. Wisdom allows us to see the situation clearly for what it is. Justice, in this case, means first being just to ourselves, protecting our peace, our energy, and our path. It may mean creating firm boundaries or, in some cases, lovingly and quietly walking away. And courage is what allows us to take these necessary, often difficult actions. The goal, then, is not to win against the person who secretly hates you. The goal is to ensure their inner war does not become yours. By responding with wisdom, not from your wounds, you protect the one thing that is truly yours, the integrity and tranquility of your own soul. This clarity, while painful to acquire, is a form of power. The power to choose peace, to choose your company wisely, and to walk your own path with unshakable self-possession.